Alright, so welcome to the very first video of Introduction to Mixing. Today we are going to focus on setting up a new project and preparing it to be mixed. Now, mixing is an art form just like composing and arranging, and it involves combining and refining multiple audio tracks into a final cohesive audio file. In any given mixing project, you will likely need to address things like balance, panning, reverb, EQ, and compression, each of which we are going to tackle in dedicated videos throughout this series. But the very first step is making sure you are prepared with a strong arrangement and to have your project properly set up in your DAW so it can be mixed in the first place. To do this, you're going to need either a set of monitors or some headphones to listen to your music. Now, some professionals swear that mixing using monitors is ideal, while others are going to recommend expensive pairs of headphones. But at least when you're first starting out, it doesn't really matter which one you go with. Most cheap over-the-ear headphones will work just fine for both beginner and intermediate mixers. And that's who this course is for. I am making these videos for composers and producers who love writing music and want to make sure they know enough about mixing to deliver a solid final product. These lessons are designed to be effective and easy to apply. If you are looking for something significantly more complex and in-depth, I recommend checking out Joël Dollier's YouTube channel. He's got some amazing videos for people who really like to dive into the nitty-gritty, and he has great recommendations for gear as well. But for our purposes, so long as you have some decent speakers or some over-the-ear headphones, you should be fine. Other than that, obviously, you just need a project that you plan to mix. Here, I have a short excerpt from one of the very first pieces of instrumental music I ever wrote over 6 years ago. And I decided to go with an older piece so that we have a realistic example of what mixing can do for a young composer's music, rather than working with a piece that's already highly polished and it will only get subtle yet impactful changes from mixing. So with that, let's give it a quick little listen, shall we? So the arrangement is a little simple. Not all of the instruments are being used quite as idiomatically as they could be. However, like many beginners' pieces, the basic idea is catchy, and giving it a proper mix will help the theme shine. But, just so we're clear, mixing cannot save a poor arrangement or composition, no matter how talented or skilled the mixing engineer is. So if you want a good sound, prioritize strong compositions and clear arrangements first. Then you can start worrying about mixing. But since this course is all about mixing, I'm going to go ahead and assume you already feel fairly competent with your writing skills. So, with that out of the way, step number 1 is to decide on whether you'd like to mix your project as MIDI tracks or audio tracks. There are advantages to both, but neither is superior to the other. Mixing audio tracks tends to be significantly less demanding on your computer. So if you're mixing from a laptop or a tablet, then bouncing your MIDI tracks to audio tracks and then disabling your MIDI tracks can be a great way to save RAM and processing power, so your computer doesn't start to slow down or get janky. The downside is you can't make any adjustments to your arrangement or MIDI data once it's been bounced to an audio file. Or at the very least, if you need to make changes to any of the parts, you'll need to adjust the MIDI and then make a new audio track, which can get super annoying depending on how deep into your mix you are. But if you've got a strong computer and you're not quite sure if your arrangement is exactly where you want it to be, then mixing your MIDI tracks can be super helpful. And this is what I tend to do personally. But again, either way is perfectly fine. If you choose to, this is where you would bounce each of your MIDI tracks, listen to them, and make sure that the audio bounced correctly. And then when you're done, it's ready for step number 2. But since in this project, I personally prefer to work with MIDI tracks and my computer can handle it, that's what we're going to be working with. Step number 2 is to organize the entire project via routing. Routing involves setting up various buses in a project to allow your mix to be more streamlined and effective. A bus is sort of like a funnel. It's a signal path that combines multiple individual audio signals into one track, allowing them to be processed and manipulated as a group. For example, this project contains 21 different instrumental tracks. Every single one of them is routed by default to the master output track. If I mute this one track / bus, then the whole project gets muted because all of the tracks funnel through this one bus. Likewise, if I apply reverb to this track, then that reverb gets applied to all the other tracks because they all funnel through this one bus. And that is where this becomes important. We want to set up multiple different buses to make things like reverb and balancing much easier and much more efficient. The number of buses you need can vary depending on a couple of different things. First, you're going to want at least one bus for every major instrument section in your project. Things like woodwinds, strings, brass, keyboards, percussion, synths, rhythm sections, sound effects, etc. If there's a category of instrument that you're working with, it should probably just get its own bus. For example, our project contains woodwinds, strings, piano, harp, and percussion. I'm going to combine the piano and the harp into one instrument section that we'll call the keyboards. So I need at least 4 different buses, one each for the woodwinds, strings, keyboards, and percussion. Next, optionally, if you use multiple different libraries per section, then you can choose to create additional buses to help organize those. For example, let's say I had fleshed out my string section a little bit by using multiple libraries for each part. So my violins, violas, cello, and basses were all being doubled by a combination of tracks taken from my Spitfire Studio Orchestra library and the Albion 1 library. Creating separate buses would be helpful in this situation because the libraries have different needs. Albion 1 is a wet library, meaning that it already has lots of natural reverb. But the Spitfire Symphony Orchestra library is dry, meaning that it doesn't have a lot of natural reverb. If they have different reverbs from the start, then it's not going to make a whole lot of sense for me to apply the same amount of reverb to both libraries later in the mixing process. Hence, the use for multiple buses, making things easier down the line. For the same reason, some musicians prefer to create separate buses based off long and short articulations, giving each instrument section its own buses for short things like staccato, pizzicato, or other just bouncy, quick notes, and separate buses for notes that are very long, legato, sustained, stuff like that. Again, this is optional. Since this is a super simple arrangement using only one library per instrument section and only really one performance technique per instrument, it's not something we're going to need to consider, but it's something to keep in mind for your own future projects. The last thing we need is something called a pre-master bus. This is something that will be helpful if you ever decide to master your projects. Mastering is the next step after mixing. You can think of mixing as polishing up individual projects, while mastering deals with making sure multiple projects work together, like the various tracks of an album or a soundtrack. You can make simple tweaks to the master output of a project to help make sure each project has a uniform sound and volume. But that's not something we're going to worry about too much in this class. For now, setting up a pre-master will just save you a bunch of headache down the line if you do decide to do some mastering. So, with the pre-master included, that brings our grand total of buses needed for this project to just 5. And that's simple enough. We're just going to simply click the new track button. We're going to make sure that we have selected group tracks. We're going to make sure those are set to stereo, not mono. And then we're just going to select the number of new tracks we need. In this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom, simple as that. We're going to click Create Tracks or Add Tracks. And pow, look at that. 5 new tracks right there. And this is what we'll work with. Next, I am going to recommend doing a little bit of color coding to keep things from getting too hectic. I'm going to name this top group the Woodwind Bus. And I will color it, let's say, light blue. Next, I'm going to go through and I'm going to highlight each of my woodwind instruments. And I'm going to give them the same color. I will then do the same thing for all of my other buses, with the exception of my pre-master bus, which I'm just going to leave alone because I don't really feel like it needs its own color. If you do, go for it. It's a personal choice. There's not really a reason for this other than just making it easier to organize. So go for it. Make your project nice and pretty looking. So next, we need to organize these buses so they actually do something. For this, I'm going to go to the Studio tab. I'm going to click on my Mix console and find this bad boy. All right, this is where we get to decide which tracks get funneled through which buses. For example, I want all of my woodwinds to get funneled through the woodwind bus, obviously. So I will start by highlighting each of the woodwind tracks. Make sure this little Q link button is active, because when this is active, it means what I do to one gets done to everything that's highlighted. Then I am going to click on the routing tab. The routing tab shows us the path that each of our tracks are taking. Right now, these are all being sent straight to the master output, but I don't want them going there yet. First, I want these tracks to get sent to the woodwind bus. So I'm going to click on stereo out. I'm going to find the woodwind bus. I'm going to click that option and pow, look at that. Everybody is happy. Everybody is getting sent to the woodwind bus. Speaking of which, next, I need to go down and find my woodwind bus. I want this little sucker not going to the master output, but rather going to the pre-master. So I click it, I chose the pre-master option, and we're good. Now everything that gets funneled to the woodwind bus will then get funneled to the pre-master, which, as we can see, is set to the master output by default. We are going to do this for each of the tracks and buses in our project, getting the strings, percussion, and keyboards all taken care of. If you're using additional buses for things like individual libraries or types of articulations, you'd want to funnel them in a similar strategy as well, making sure that your specialized buses get funneled to the appropriate section-based buses, then to the pre-master, and then to the master output. Once you are done, your project is finally ready to be mixed. And we will get started with balancing the volumes of each track in the next video. So thank you again to everyone who has shown support for this channel. In this video, a special shout out goes to each of the generous donors, patrons, and channel members who have contributed to help bring this class to life and make it available for free to anyone who wants to learn how to write, arrange, and mix their own music. I appreciate each of you more than you know. So until next time, my friends, keep studying, keep working hard, and keep writing new music. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.